warped Cold War era Victoria Nuland, you can see where this is going, thinking that the United States is the indispensable nation and everybody has to listen to us.
There's no question about that. I mean, they're two of the principal spokesmen for that view.
And what has that view brought us but the entanglements today? President Biden said, I forget who pointed this out. Aaron Mate pointed this out. I didn't catch it. In the speech he gave from the Oval Office about 4 or 5 days after he withdrew from the Democratic or from the presidential race. For the first time in 100 years, the United States is not at war. So I guess he forgot Syria, Yemen, Jordan, Libya, Ukraine, Gaza.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say. The United States is up to its eyeballs in alligators in all of these different conflicts. There's no end in sight in any of them. And there's a real danger that they may even escalate. And lots of us worry about the possibility somewhere down the road of nuclear escalation. President Biden has not left us safer during his 4 years in office. There's no question about that. I believe, for example, he's principally responsible for starting the Ukraine war. I think he could have prevented it if he had behaved wisely in the 3 or 4 months before the war. And with regard to the Gaza conflict, which I would clearly refer to as a genocide, he is complicit in that genocide, which I think is absolutely disgraceful for any president of the United States. So the idea that this man has a right to boast about his record in foreign policy is one that I completely reject.
Here he is boasting about his foreign policy. The clip that I mentioned from the Oval Office just about 2 weeks ago.
I'm the first president in this century to report to the American people that the United States is not at war anywhere in the world. We'll keep rallying a coalition of proud nations to stop Putin from taking over Ukraine and doing more damage. We'll keep NATO stronger, and I'll make it more powerful and more united than any time in all of our history. I'll keep doing the same for our allies in the Pacific. You know, when I came to office, the conventional wisdom was that China would inevitably surpass the United States. That's not the case anymore. And I'm going to keep working to end the war in Gaza, bring home all the hostages, and bring peace and security to the Middle East and end the...
Add to that, I'm sure you caught it, what Senator Blumenthal said as he was looking at President Zelensky in the eyes. You're fighting our fight. I mean, Victoria Nuland couldn't have written a better one-liner.
Yeah, well, this notion that we're an indispensable nation means that we have, in effect, a responsibility to protect every country in the world that might be threatened by an adversary of ours. So as the indispensable nation, we have a responsibility, both a moral responsibility and a strategic responsibility to protect countries like Ukraine. We cannot afford to allow Ukraine to be defeated. Ukraine has to become a member of NATO. Or if it can't become a de jure member of NATO, it has to be a de facto member of NATO. We have to be everywhere on the planet. We are indispensable for maintaining stability here, there, and everywhere. That's our job. And this involves policing the world. And when you have this mentality, you're going to find yourself getting into all sorts of problems. And this is what's happened to the United States, at least since the Cold War ended.
If we are